on Friday last week. Now, it is appearing that, Afande Wawili was stationed in Busia, where he was arrested as he was trying to, get out of the country and escape to the vicinity of Kenya. But of course, this question that we're posing to, Fred Egesa today does come at a backdrop of several questions that did come in from the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on how, a police officer that is on duty can be, let to move around holding a gun, and how a police officer that is known to be mentally unstable can also be in possession of a gun. And of course, this comes to triggers down to the ordinary Ugandan, the security of the ordinary Ugandan. We Ugandans are constantly in open spaces with the people that are, said or are seen to be holding these guns. And of course, this does now worry us on the state of security as per in Uganda, and we did experience at least several deaths that did appear in the past 2 to 3 weeks, and that included the murder of the late State Minister for Labor, none other than Charles Engola, who was buried this weekend in his home district Oyam. We also did see the murder of a blogger known as Ibrahim Tusubira, commonly known as Jaja Ichuli, also being gunned down in the areas of Chanja. Still, on matters of security, we also saw matters that did come in from Naweru, where several gentlemen were arrested by security operatives, and this was in regard to terrorist actions, as they were found with different materials that are used to make bombs, make explosive materials, and these were also arrested. Now this last week, and that was on Friday, just a few days back behind now, we did see the gunning down of a moneylender, an Indian national, which did prompt Indian nationals to go to the police headquarters to squeeze the police on their security as they are continuously doing business in Uganda. Now, today we'll be looking at different aspects in security, different aspects, when it comes to all these matters that are all rotating around one thing, which is security. If Uganda has the capability of continuously beefing up security, well, Uganda has been known to be one of those countries that has tight security, and this comes in with the army, with the police, and this weekend we did see the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni commend the works of the Special Forces Command, commonly known as SFC, as he was passing out 229 officers that were training in their camp in Kasanje. Now, we understand that, with all these tactics, with the technology developments Uganda has, received, with the technology developments that are being engaged or involved in training, the security officers, the police officers, where is the matter of professionalism in these, trainings? Well, my producer, if you're ready, would like to have that phone call interview with Mr. Fred Egesa, who is unable to make it to the studios due to matters of traffic. But of course, we do not disappoint when we, promise. We make sure we deliver on those promises. So we'll be speaking to Mr. Fred Egesa on phone. My producer, if you're ready. Yes, good morning, Mr. Egesa.
Good morning.
You're live on BTM Television, the Daybreak Show.
Okay.
My name is Bruce Mugabe. We'll be having an interview, and I would like us to speak matters of security.
Yep.
Now, Mr. Egesa, you happen to be a security expert, and for the past 2 to 3 weeks, we experienced at least 3 gun incidents in Uganda. We've experienced, a terrorist alert from the security operatives, as some people that were said to be terrorists were arrested in Naweru. And we would like to get your point of view. What do you make of the security situation in Uganda currently, or what do these happenings reflect of security?
Yeah, of course, we have had incidents that are kind of situation pointers. of course, what I can see is that apart from the issue of the bombs or the explosives which were recovered in Naweru, the rest of the incidents look like very individualistic and very distant. They appear to be originating from individuals who are, it's not like an organized thing. You see that different a soldier acts differently, a policeman acts differently, a local guard acts differently. These cases are not connected. So it's only that one where explosives were recovered that possibly could appear to be a much more serious security concern than these other two, despite the fact that the people we lost lives and family and people, friends and families are grieving, but the incidents are a bit scattered.
Now, Mr. Egesa, when you look at the professionalism or the way the security operatives are handling these matters, is the police, on top of the situation? Is the security on top of this situation?
Of course, I would say these are isolated incidents. So what we're saying is that, yes, I think the police is doing a lot. And of course, like any other police in the world, there are always frauds, there are always mistakes, there are always miscalculations. But I think I can say that there is improvement. I think I cannot downplay what the police is doing now, irrespective of the few frowns that possibly have kind of managed to swim through. I still believe, I still have confidence that the police can improve and make and protect Ugandans.
Now, Mr. Egesa, let us single out, for example, the gun attacks. Well, what do the gun increased attacks in the public reflect, and what could be the cause? Because, for example, we had a shooting of a money lender that was on Friday last week. We had a shooting of a socialite or a blogger, Isma Olaxes. We also had a shooting of the minister, the late minister Charles Engola, by his own bodyguard. What do these gun incidents indicate?
Of course, guns are tools like any other tool. They're like hoes, they're like knives, they're like axes, they're like hammers in a home, and they have their very good use. But at the same time, sometimes it happens that they are accessed by human beings, of course, as weapon, and then turned into weapons of destruction. Because a gun is supposed to protect life. A gun was never meant to destroy life. Whoever designed a gun designed it to protect life, but still, like as a human being is the wisest animal who can sometimes even engage weapons. There are times I've seen animals like monkeys throwing stones and sticks, but I think that's really highest. Otherwise, several animals will use their teeth, will use their claws to attack or to fight or to defend. So we are saying that guns on the gun misuse is on the rise. Of course, you remember, if you may track my discussions on radio about guns, I've always said that more guns, more trouble. Every gun poses a danger to the owner. Every gun poses a danger to the person they are guarding. Every gun poses a danger to the surrounding. Because in case of misuse, a gun can never, we don't have any gun that went off by itself. We are seeing human beings behind these guns. So when you see, like in the case of we have premeditated murder, we have one case that is the truly unfortunate murder. Then these other cases you can see guys go into a fit of anger, they act the way they have acted, and in the process someone is dead and another one takes his life, because eventually he wakes up to know that possibly he will never go away with what he has committed. Another one tries to flee because after doing whatever he has done, since comes back to say, listen, you're in danger, you need your own life, try to protect it.
And now, Mr. Egesa, looking at the incident of the shooting of the late minister and also the shooting that did involve a policeman, that was last week, what could be, the biggest trigger of, these incidents in the minds of these police officers? Yes, you could not be in the minds of the officers, but what are the situations that could lead to them acting the way they did?
Yeah, we are looking at, we are looking at mentors. Of course, the investigation is wide. We are looking at mental disorder. We are looking at frustration. We are looking at character, human behavior. We are looking at background, how someone has been raised. We are looking at also we are looking at training. We are looking at counter training. We are looking at things like personal issues. You know, these days, unlike before, human beings, even soldiers, everybody is allowed to move with his phone, because now a phone is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. So people, that means that all the problems you get in the world, all the achievements you get in the world are communicated to you almost immediately. So if all these issues are communicated now, it takes a man, it takes a person, it takes a woman to try and digest all these problems, despite the meager payments. Like, of course, in Uganda, the salaries are very low. Not only to secure the personnel, but to save other people. Just because of the collection bag, we are still a third world country with not so much money. It is a lot of responsibility. Look at soldiers; they work almost 24 hours. They work for more hours. Policemen also work for more hours. They have problems like any of us. And in the process, of course, I think sometimes frustration sets in, and then someone goes into a G of misjudgment.
Now, Mr. Egesa, looking at the welfare, just like you did speak about welfare could be a matter or could be an issue. The president, in one of his addresses, and that could have been on Twitter, he did mention that the police or the army officers should not be given allowances to guard their principles. Does this reflect positively or negatively in the ears of these, different individuals?
Of course, the president, as the head of state and one who is experienced with the forces, has realized that sometimes tokens and small things sometimes can cause an argument. That would lead into an escalation of a situation, and that would lead into a fatal reaction. 10,000 shillings. If soldiers were fighting about over 10,000 shillings, it can erupt into a shooting. Small. Maybe you cannot say that they should not have the money or allowances, but I think it should be in such a way that these allowances are wired to their accounts, instead of being maybe the daily tokens where someone is expecting and when he does not get what he has been expecting, he may react, and in the process there's a problem. So he's looking at it, I'm sure he's looking at it in that type of vein, that if there is money, because if there is money and allowances and it goes directly to someone's account, I'm sure that's not what the president is talking about. But he's talking about simple allowances, road allowances, maybe lunch allowances, which may create a situation that maybe the spirit among the guards takes advantage of his friends, then there is a reaction, and then we lose lives.
Now, still the president has occasionally referred to the people that do carry out these shootings to be pigs, and saying that the pigs will be caught, and that is in courts. But year in, year out, we don't see reports being released on these matters. What is next?
Of course, when the president calls murderers pigs, he offends some of us who take pork. But at the same time, what we are saying is that they are very, very, even in America, even very, very complex worlds, there you find unresolved murders. In fact, several organizations, several countries have even put up what we call the unresolved murder desks, or the dead case desks. There are many cases in life. You remember the Carlos, the Jacko, and several other murderers in Europe. They were at it for 10 years and nobody caught them, irrespective of the advancement of their own technology. They are criminals they have not caught.
But
so
in Uganda,
what you're saying is, like in cases like that of Ichuri, we say, who hits Ugandans? Is he the same person who hit Kawesa, who hit Chirumira, who hit the Muslims? Or maybe there's a situation of others coming up, or maybe this is a personal vendetta. It is, we have to work harder to look for this information, and use and put it to good use.
Mr. Egesa, we know that not each and every case can be resolved, but looking at all these murders that have happened in Uganda, from the late Deputy IGP to the murder of Abiriga, to the murder of Afande Chirumira, to the murder of that is come to these recent murders, we are not seeing reports, and this is for literally each and every case that has come about.
Yeah, of course, we should say that there is a struggle around police investigations. Of course, I would say that there are several matters they have kind of solved, but the speed is we are still a bit low. I am sure that the police has to pull up their swords. Of course, what we've been telling the police is we can build our own intelligence system. There is a lot of dependency on what the whites teach us. The people believe that when you go to America and take a course, and when you go to another country, maybe a developed country, and take a course, then you are very, very complicated and you can solve matters. But I'm telling you, our own systems of investigations here are systems. We are supposed to build our own base of investigation, our own schools, our own syllabuses, because we have so many differences. So to me, I still believe that we waste a lot of time sending people abroad. Okay, they can maybe there to do some bit of technology, or we can import one to come here, but I think the methodology of how we train our SADs is also lacking.
Okay. Now, Mr. Egesa, maybe as we approach ending this interview, let us look at, the police or the security affairs in Uganda are continuously taking, the biggest chunk of the national budget. And, has the funding been enough? What could be the problem that is still hindering security being beefed up, being tightened up in Uganda?
Even in countries where they have the biggest budget on security, there has been grounds here and there. But to me, I still believe that it may not be okay. Money may have an application. On how security performs. But even our methods are still a bit rudimentary, and they have to be improved on.
How does the issue of cameras, sit in for you as a security analyst?
Yeah, but of course cameras help here and there, but we may never have cameras everywhere. But what we have also talked about is we everywhere we have an eye. We have an eye is the best. It is the time that we triggered, we kind of tuned to using our own harvesting of information from the public. Even as we rely on cameras. Cameras are good in some areas, but they may never solve every other problem, because if you see the space we have in Uganda and the numbers of cameras, of course, we are still at the lowest.
Then, Mr. Egesa, just one more question. When it comes to the recent murder that we did have at, Parliamentary Avenue of a policeman, Wawire, who has been said that he was mentally unstable. Does it sit properly in your mind that a police officer would resort to street money lending with the presence of a police circle that is well established?
Yeah, of course, money lending in Uganda, especially what we call "give me a duck, I'll give you a cow," has gone berserk. There are so many crimes that are going to result out of this type of cartel of money lending, because one is not well regulated. So, but people also need money. I think it is very high time that government thought about creating more loan-friendly situations. Two, of course, this man lives. He has a life and he has to survive, but at the same time, I think he gets blocked. I don't know at what percentage he was being given the loan. Lastly, we have to look at the situation of saying, what I don't want to hear possibly from the police is the situation of saying that they have been keeping a mentally unstable person in the forces. Yet he's moving, he's also handling others, he's supposed to be a law enforcer. How can a person with a questionable mental state be in charge of such a responsibility? He carries a uniform, nobody will know that in fact, and his experience. He put him closer to guns. To me, I believe that in this particular area, the police was very responsible.
Do Ugandans need to be worried about this irresponsibility?
Well, yes, because it's such a glaring kind of utterance that someone says, oh, the man has been mad, we stopped him from touching a gun, but this is a mad man. A man who is mentally sick will never take all the orders, and sometimes because of training and because of there is somehow he can access a gun because his colleagues are carrying guns and he's with them and he's in operations. So who was supposed to oversee him as a baby? To me, I think that was very responsible.
Well, very many thanks, Mr. Fred Egesa, for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay. That is what he was saying on matters of security, on the different questions that we did pose to him. It is a pity that we could not have him live in studio due to the unforeseeable circumstances, but hopefully that you did pick something from the conversation that we did just have with him there. But of course, from what I was the discussion I did have with Mr. Egesa, that was just a few minutes ago now, there are some things that are still triggering in my mind, and of course I'm sure some of you out there could be having the same ideas, because one is the manner in which the private Wabwire Ivan did cock the gun, because I'm sure when you look at the video footage, he had to first make a shot, first cock his gun, then make one shot, and of course turn to the Indian national and also shoot him several times, come back and check on him and shoot again. Now this does create several matters of contention still, and of course to the police officers that are listening, to the police officials that are listening, these are the questions that we need you to come and answer. And one is the matter of response. How quick does police respond when gunfire is heard? How quick should the police respond, and what should the people that are around the scene of that incident do? Well, we know they are supposed to be running to the nearby police station and report, but then there are areas where the police stations are at a distance, but we have security guards maybe in the area. Well, it is admitted that it was a mistake by the private guard at the building that was at Raja Chambers at the Parliamentary Avenue, who did allow private Wabwire enter with a gun in the vicinity in the building. Now, with this being identified, how can the public be brought to terms with behavior change around people that are holding guns? There is a need for more sensitization, and this does of course cross to the public, cross to the security operatives, cross to the government and all the leaders that we do have in our communities. There is a need to create more sensitization about how one should be behaving when he or she is around a gun, because in my view, I think if it was, if there was proper sensitization, there could have been action, from maybe private Wabwire, rather from the Afande Wabwire and the people that were around him, because that was an area that was full of people, and we understand that is an area that, of course, does have a security guard. And looking at the way each and everything did transpire, there was time that could have allowed the Afande or the Askari, who could also have been holding a gun, come in there and intervene, maybe put out the police officer out of action, or maybe prevent more shots being fired to the Indian. Because looking at now connecting the dots of all these different murders that we've had in the period of about 2 to 3 weeks, we did see the murder of Isma Olaxis, and the murderer, according to a statement by the witness who happened to be the driver, mentioning that there was time allowed to the shooter to the murderer to come and check if the target was out of life. Now, this, of course, does take us back to this incident that you're just seeing in there. There is time of the conversations having in there. You can see how he did cock the gun and then shoot the Indian national, and that then move out. So doesn't that create a little bit of gap for maybe a security operative who could have been in the vicinity to come in there and act? Now, this does, of course, lead back to the questions of the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Where was the security at this very building? We understand that this is a street that does house a lot of money lending businesses. Parliament is on that street. We are seeing the Ministry of Constitutional Affairs on that street. We're also seeing several police officers that are normally deployed just in front of the Parliament entrance. Where were all these security operatives? These are some of the questions that are continuously lingering in the minds of Ugandans. All that time, even the police officer having to make it back to his vicinity or to his jurisdiction of deployment, which was in Busia. So this, of course, is creating a lot of more questions, and that is why we say that maybe if Private Egesa was live with us in studio, we could have put all these more questions to him. But of course, this does not stop here. The conversation does still continue, and we'll be having more conversations with more security analysts, with more security professionals, with people that are tasked with doing or legislating for us laws in Uganda, putting in place some of the laws to work and provide security to many Ugandans. Now, my producer, there is a tweet that is with you there. If you could please display that tweet. That is a message that will be displayed in just a few seconds that was posted by the former political commissar of the Uganda Police, and that is the retired AIGP Hassan Kasinje. Now, looking at that tweet, the tweet reads that I'm sorry to say this line by KMP/PRO, that number 67029 PC Wawire Ivan is mentally sick, complicates the work of the CID to pin him for murder and his subsequent conviction if charged. The PRO should have promised an investigation that would also focus on medical. Now, that is a tweet that comes in from the former political commissar of the Uganda Police, retired Hassan Kasinje. Now, there is a need to, of course, give the CID time to go on with these investigations. But then, with police declaring that already there was, issues of mental instability in there. When you go back to matters of criminal law, this could act as a defense for Wawire Ivan, who is now going to be charged with murder, because if one is mentally ill, that does create a huge point of contention in matters of law, in matters of defense. So where is now justice being served for the family of the Indian national who was gunned down? This, of course, does relate to the same matter of, the murder of, a few dots do connect to the murder of the former, Minister for Labor, because he was also gunned down by an army man, and that was his bodyguard, and the bodyguard also taking his life away. And that means the person who did create the crime has also lost his life. Maybe investigations do not need to commence, and that has been the talk in the public. But this does call for more investigations. This does call for reports being provided when it comes to matters of these killings, because if the person is already apprehended and they're saying he is mentally ill, should this now stop the investigation from proceeding? Should this stop the investigation from being chased by police, reports being filed by the CID? Because that's just like I said, with matters of the law being put into contention, this does create a huge defense, for Wabwire Ivan, who is the culprit in that murder. Same applies to, reports from the murder of the late State Minister for Labour, that is Charles Engwela, who was laid to rest last week. Now, of course, the other question that is still lingering in the minds of Ugandans is what is going to be happening to communities where people that are not supposed to be holding these guns get access to these guns. Are we safe? Are we safe in the communities that we are staying in? Are we safe wherever that we go? Are we safe around the people that we don't even know how mentally stable they are? Because issues of frustration are being pointed out to be the biggest matters that are leading to these shootings by the security operatives, to be the leading causes. And however much people have attributed this to money issues, finances, welfare. Yes, this cannot be ruled out, because when you look at the welfare of the police officers, it does not only go to the money that the police officer is receiving, but then it goes back to his homestead. It goes back to his or her children accessing adequate education, accessing adequate facilities. It could be health, it could be water, it could be electricity. Are the homes, or are they receiving adequate, conducive atmospheres at their homes? Because welfare does not only point to the monthly remittances, the monthly salaries, the allowances, and of course when it comes to matters of welfare, we did see a city lawyer that is commonly known as Stephen Kalari also sue the police over the dilapidated affairs of the homes of different barracks in which the different police officers do reside on. So I think there is a need for all these matters to be put into contention, because if they are all addressed, I think this could create, of course, a huge conducive atmosphere for the police officers, for the security operatives, and it could not only be put on how they are paid, because I could be receiving maybe 400,000, 300,000 per month, but then I have a good welfare because I have where to sleep, I have the food to eat, my children can go to school, I can access a good hospital, So I think it is a huge issue that needs to be looked at and addressed in different angles. And of course, just like Fred Egesa did highlight just a few minutes back, as we did have that interview, we should continuously look at how those matters can be addressed, specifically welfare and also matters of professionalism in the Uganda police, which are continuously now being issues that need to also be addressed, because it goes back to the police now being pointed out as the biggest violator of the human rights in Uganda. With the trainings that are being provided, I know police spokespersons did reveal that they also include matters of mental training, matters of mental examination for different police constables or for different police officers. But then, if these continuously erupt, if you're continuously facing these circumstances, then there's something that is not being done by the police over there. But of course, according to what Mr. Fred Egesa did highlight on, he says that the questions of the president that were questioning how a police officer who is mentally unstable can continuously be, in the forces, can continuously be given posting, or can continuously be given, work, or posted in different workstations, is also a wrongdoing by the police, because if they knew about his mental condition, then he or she should have been put out of, being posted or maybe referred to a psychiatric hospital. And the president did also point out this matter, and This leaves police, at loggerheads, and of course today in the police presser, we'll be expecting, the spokesperson of the Uganda Police to, update us on the findings, to update us on how the investigations are continuously transpiring, because we are eagerly waiting to hear how the police will be curbing down matters of gun violence in the country, which have continuously increased. We have not received different reports on different matters, because looking at the matter of the former deputy IGP, that is Andrew Felix Kawesi, going to the matter of the police officer that was commonly known as Afande Chirumira, the DPC of Buyende district, then coming to the attempted assassination of the General Katumba Wamala, who is the Minister for Works, and of course that did see his daughter lose a life. We have not seen reports on that murder. We've not seen reports on different other murders, including the one of the late Member of Parliament for Arua, that is Abiriga. We didn't see a report coming in there. So we are demanding for these reports as Ugandans, and maybe they could create a sanity, or maybe they could create at least a block of hope, that security issues in Uganda can still be, tightly gripped by the security operatives, and that is the police and the army. Well, we also did see some of the terrorist, alerts that did come in from Nawelu, and of course with Uganda having experienced different terrorist attacks, and that was just a few years back with the bomb blasts at the Parliamentary Avenue and also the Central Police Station. The matters of terrorists are also out there. So the ordinary Ugandan, you need to keep your tabs on each and every situation, because we don't know what could happen next. Security does start off with you, the ordinary Ugandan. It does start with me, and of course me being a watchman, or me being a police officer for my next neighbor. So if we are to have that tight grip on matters of security, we need to address that issue. Well, I would say that is it for today's topical discussion. Hopefully you did pick different insights from the conversation that we did have with security analyst David Fred Egesa, and of course from the different questions that are being posed by the president to the police and also the different security operatives. My name is Bruce Mugabe, and I will not be exceeding here, as the BTM Television does have more programming. We have different programs that can interest you, so do stay tuned for the rest of the day. And my name is Bruce Mugabe. Have a good morning.